Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Housing Committee meeting of Manhattan Community Board 11. I am John Green. I'm the chair of the committee. First, I want to hope that everybody had a good summer and that like everything that you wanted, you got, and it was full of fun. So because now the work begins. Um, Before we start the meeting, there's some ground rules. It says, but first, no one may speak until granted the floor. Uh, excuse me, community board members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. Those of you who are old hands at this, because most of us are, you know where the raise hands function is. But for those who are here for the first time, if you click the participants icon, the participant panel should appear and you should find the raise hand function there. If you still have technical difficulty, you may click the chat icon and relay your difficulty to Ms. Pierre. Okay. The chat function should not be used for community board business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you're having or to state in writing information such as an email address or phone number that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. Please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussion. Members of the public, if you have a question or a comment about the subjects on the agenda, please raise your hand through Zoom and wait to be recognized. Okay, I now call this meeting to order at 6:37 p.m. And Marlene, if you please call the roll, please.
Sure. Chowdhury Juhad. I apologize if I mispronounced your last name. You can correct me on the record, please. Diane Collier.
Present.
Thank you. Brianna DaCosta. Roger Flores.
Here.
Thank you. Brandon Gillespie.
Gillespie here.
Thank you. Gillespie. Thank you.
Gillespie.
Say that one more time.
Gillespie like Dizzy.
Gillespie. Got it. Thank you. John Green.
Here.
Alonzo Johnson.
Here.
Thank you. Beverly Pabon. Claudia Perez.
Present.
Thank you. Dawn Sanders.
Present.
Thank you. Anne Marie Vasquez. Candy Vives Vasquez. And Jason Wu.
Here.
Thank you. You have quorum, John.
Thank you, Marlene. First, I want to welcome the new members of the committee. And I hope that you enjoyed the work here. Some of you already know, so I know you work in whatever committee that you're on. One moment, I have a hand raised here. Beverly. Beverly, if you're speaking, you're muted. Okay. We'll go on from there. Okay. First of all, the agenda was distributed to all members of the committee, and it's on the community board website. And if there are no objections, I will I like to adopt the agenda. If there's any objections, please raise your hand. Seeing no hands raised, the agenda is adopted. Okay, the June committee minutes have not been submitted yet, but they will be adopted at the next meeting because Marlon will get them later on this week. Okay, now, next,
Dawn has her hand raised. John, if you would like to recognize her.
who's that again?
Dawn.
Dawn? Yes, Dawn.
I just wanted to say, because I didn't, the minutes in my email, so I was just checking to see if you could put it, oh, okay, I see. Maybe at some point you'll put it on the screen, because then I can just take a look at it.
The minutes were not submitted to the board office.
I'm
John said-
sorry.
Yeah,
No,
John said
no.
that once he submits them, that you guys will vote on them next month.
Not the minutes, the agenda, I'm sorry.
The agenda, you didn't get the agenda in the email?
Was, if I was supposed to click on it, my link did not lead me to the right place, but I'll take another look.
No problem, it was attached.
Hi, I was able to put my speaker on. I just want to say I'm present.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, I just saw something in the chat. Just one moment, please. Yes, Marlene, Emery Vasquez said that she said no, the chat said that she's present. That she's having computer issues.
Okay, thank you.
And now, okay, so now we go to the announcements. So on August 28th, Governor Hochul extended the state's disaster emergency through September 27th, 2022. Until we hear differently, all meetings after that date will be hybrid with board members required to attend in person. Okay, so that means this is our last Zoom meeting according to this. So when the October meeting, the members of the committee will be in person. Okay, next, filling the gaps, an examination of the New York City Housing Authority's budget. Okay, now, now this I really haven't looked at yet, but I believe this is. Marlene, I just want to ask you a question. Is this something that was connected to the consultations with NYCHA, or this is something different?
No, this was just for the committee's edification, just so
Oh,
you
okay.
guys have it, because it was given to the board office by NYCHA. And
Okay.
all it is, the New York City Independent Budget Office examines and changes in NYCHA every 5 years. And what it examines is their operating plan. And as well as changes in the amount of subsidies the city provides to NYCHA. So it was just for you all to have and read and come back to committee if you have questions. That's why I was just there for announcements, because that report just came out August 2022.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Marlene. Okay, so if once any of you have any questions once you peruse this report, please come back and ask any questions if that you may have. Okay. Are there any other announcements, Marlene, or is that it?
I don't have any pre-prepared announcements. If the committee does, I'm not sure.
Okay, are there any announcements but that any members of the committee have? Hands raised. Okay. Okay, so are there Beverly? Yes, please. Yes, Beverly.
I just have a question regarding this announcement regarding NYCHA. At a later date, after we look over this information, we can discuss it at a later date. And if we
Sure.
have any questions, we send it to you, John, or to Marlene.
No, you can send it to me. You can send it to me.
Okay, thank you very much, John.
No problem. Okay, are there any members of the public that may have an announcement? Okay, no hands raised. Beverly, do you have another question, or you just didn't put your hand down?
I do have another question, actually announcement. I've been going to a meeting with Councilwoman Jordan. She has a weekly or sometime bi-weekly meeting of housing. And I know that they were trying to get together with our community board, community 10 and the community board 8 regarding housing. I'm not sure if they had the meeting last night, which I probably missed, but if they have any more meetings where where they need to meet with community board 11, I will pass on the information. But they do have she does have a weekly meeting on Mondays, usually around 6 o'clock, to discuss housing. And I wanted everyone to know about that.
Okay, thank you very much, Beverly.
Yes.
Dawn?
I just wanted to ask, just concerning that meeting. So they already had it for this week? Do they have it, or they're gonna have it for this week soon?
Well, they was supposed to schedule one for on the holiday, but I totally forgot about it. They'd had one last week.
Mhm.
She usually on her website, Jordan website, under events, you'll see her calendar, and you can log in on that date. Mr. Ovi Lattimore is her staff member that usually takes any kind of questions from the community boards or people in general, if y'all want to speak. But I know at the last meeting, they were trying to get together with, it was supposed to have been just for community board 10, but I, as a regular person, was like, I know community board 11 and the community board 8 may want to talk about the housing situation with her. And I asked that she would reach out to you guys formally to invite. But like I said, I didn't miss, if she had one Monday, I didn't miss it. I did miss it. But I can call tomorrow and find out and then give you the information and pass it on. And she does have it every week, usually every week at 6 o'clock.
That would be great, because I'm wondering, and I was going to bring this up in new business, I'm wondering what her stand is on the NYCHA conversions. And I don't want to open that up now, but I don't know if she puts it on her website or she's mentioned it, but I'm curious to know where all the electeds stand on NYCHA conversion from section 9 to section 8, so that we can kind of see if, are they really allies, or they just want to talk about it, that kind of thing. But I'm so glad that you shared this information, because this is really useful. We have to do our part to reach out and see what they're saying. So thanks a lot, by the way.
You're welcome. I know in the past, the meetings that she had was talking about the TIL program and homeownership. She spoke about the CLTs. She had conversations with just last week. What's the name of the housing that's having problems? One of the cooperatives, longtime cooperative on the west side. I can't remember the name of the facility right now, that was having issues. But I know, like I said, every week, and other people from other parts of the industry or real estate comes together and speak. And a lot of community people comes and speaks. So yeah, it would be great if you guys would formally or they formally reach out to you guys and you'll be on these weekly meetings or bi-weekly meetings that she has. It's very informative.
Okay, thank you very much, Beverly.
You are.
Okay, so, okay, we will go from announcements to informational updates. If there are any.
John, you have two hands raised. I'm not sure if Beverly, that's an old hand, but Diane Collier does have her hand raised.
Okay, Diane, the floor is yours.
I just wanted to know, where are the meetings that Beverly was talking about?
Oh yes, I'm so sorry. They're usually on Zoom.
Okay, they're not in her office?
Not none of the ones that I have, and I'm not sure if they will be changing it. But all the meetings thus far has been Zoom meetings.
So you have to be invited, or does she have some
No,
kind
no,
of?
no. All you have to do is log on to her. Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can pull up.
Okay,
exactly.
I mean, you don't have to
Yeah.
get into all of that. I just was asking, you know.
Yeah,
if-
yeah. No, all you have to do is just come in,
Okay,
just
Thank
tag
you.
in and come in
thank
and
you.
introduce yourself and that's that. And then go from there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, are there any, excuse me, informational updates?
I'm sorry, John. This person in the attendees section, Christina Johnson, has had her hand raised for a while. I'm not sure if you would like to recognize her.
Sure.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you for recognizing me. I just wanted to make a small announcement that Lexington Houses is having their back to school book bag giveaway on Saturday, September 10th from 12 to 5 p.m. and you are all invited. So please come out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other announcements?
Can
You
I
have-
just,
Go ahead, John.
I had a question for Ms. Johnson. Do you need any volunteers or are you, could you use volunteers at your event?
Yes, can you hear me? I don't know.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry. Yes, we can use some volunteers. Right now, we're a little short-handed. So if anyone can come out to volunteer, we would really appreciate it. We'll need someone to man the table where the food is, someone to help give out the book bags and watch the children over where the bouncy castle is going to be. And overall, just walk around and talking to the residents.
I'm gonna try to stop by.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, any other announcements?
Yes, you have two hands up in the attendee section. Miriam and Kevin Powell, and a third hand just raised, Sandra Maynard. So, but Miriam is first.
Okay, Ms. Campbell, the floor is yours.
Hi, how are you? This is Miriam Chartywall. I'm a housing program coordinator at Synergia Inc. I just wanted to make a quick announcement. On Wednesday, September 21st, we're hosting a webinar on tenants' rights and disability accommodations. And attached to that is also a statewide survey that NYPLI, New York Lawyers for the Public Interest, is sharing, and I have that on our link. Marlene, I can send that to you if that's okay. I don't know if there's any point person in terms of our event registration.
Sure, no problem. You could send it to myself or you could send it to the general board office. Do you have that email address? I could just put it in the chat and you could pick it up.
Sounds good. You can do that. Thank you.
You're welcome. John, the next person is Kevin Powell.
Mr. Powell, the floor is yours.
Yes, good afternoon, good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. My name is Kevin Powell. I'm with Harlem Children's Zone Salem Community Pride Center. We have a small community center that's along with Harlem Children's Zone, and we do different events In the community, we have a Harlem Harvest that takes place in St. Nicholas housing. It happens the first Saturday of every month. We have one this Saturday, August 13th, September 10th, October 15th, November 12th. Will be the next one. I have some other information. Also at our community center, it will start next month. We have a ESL class and a GED program. It's the evening classes. There's the baby college program. I'm going through real quickly because I raised my hand to ask for the information prior that the young lady had, and it's just possible because she put the information on the chat. There's also an application for Promise Academy, the new charter school. I do have all this information. If you guys need information, I could give you my cell phone number and you could text me your email and I can send you all of this information as well. Yes, Harlem Children's Own Promise Academy, they're doing another lottery. So you actually have to sign up in order to get it. And like I said, if anybody has any information, I could put my number in the chat, or I could tell you right now. It's 347-413-4892. And if anybody has any other information, we usually go out into the community and we help. So I'm sorry, the young lady, I can remember your name, but I could speak with my director and we could possibly come and help if we don't have something going on. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. And next, Marlene, is that it?
Yes, I'm sorry, John. Before you move on to the next attendee, Diane Collier has her hand raised, and I'm pretty sure it's in response to Kevin Powell. If
Yes,
you would
it
like to
is.
recognize her.
Sure, Diane.
Thank you. Yes, it is in response to Kevin. Kevin, do you have any information about Harlem Children's Zone as to when they are preparing to move to Sendero?
No, that one is still up there. I know they're still building right now. That much I know. Because actually our team went out into the community looking for different peoples and vendors or daycare centers and things, just to know the people who are in the community that we will be actually servicing. So that, as far as I don't know.
So I'm going to ask John that one of the things I think we should be really interested in is when they are going to be opening that school. You know, not just the day before, but clearly, as Kevin said, if and when they have a lottery, since that is a huge development.
All right. That's fine. Okay. Anyone? Yes. Ms. Johnson.
Yes. Oh, I'm
Your
sorry.
hand is raised.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. All right.
Wait, yes.
I'm sorry, John. The next person is Miss Maynard.
Yes,
Ms. Maynard, you have the floor is yours.
yes, good evening, everyone. I live here on 123rd Street in Malcolm X Boulevard. And across the street from me, my church, the Ephesus Seventh-day Adventist Church, will be having a health fair October the 2nd, starting October the 2nd. And it will be that week. So you all invited. It's a Sunday, starts the health fair on October the 2nd.
Thank you very much. Any other announcements? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Okay, well, thank you very much for the information, everybody. Are there any information? Yes, there are. The first is informational update on the use of cannabis in New York City Housing Authority developments. Okay, the city's public housing buildings are run by the federal government. Residents are not permitted to smoke inside the buildings and must light up at least 25 feet away from the properties. NYCHA will add marijuana use to its smoke-free policy. I guess I remember receiving a letter about that. Are there any other information updates from the committee?
I just had a question about that policy.
Yes.
So I was just wondering, because I did a project with the smoke-free folks. Maybe we could have them visit at some point, because I'm just wondering who enforces this rule, right? Because I know some residents try to discourage people from smoking in the building, and then they can become targets of people's anger. But who actually enforces the smoke-free policy, or is it just suggested? Or
Well, actually, that is a clause that's in NYCHA leases now. And as Maggot, they also added a clause about the smoking of marijuana in NYCHA leases as well. So the thing is that if you are caught doing that, the thing is that according to NYCHA, you're putting your tenancy in jeopardy.
thanks, that's good to know. So people should tell their property manager if like a person on their floor is abusing the policy. They should tell the property manager then, I guess, or
Well, they can if they want to, yes. Okay. Are there any other information updates from the public?
John, you have two hands raised from the committee, and it's about this topic. The first one is Jason Wu, and the second one is Claudia Perez. If you would like to recognize Jason Wu first.
Okay, Jason, yes, the floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. So I'm not here tonight on behalf of Legal Aid, although most of you know that I do work at the Legal Aid Society. I just wanted to share that Legal Aid will be coming out with a frequently asked questions on this specific issue, because there are some questions around kind of admission policy for NYCHA, for people applying for NYCHA housing, versus kind of the potential consequences and termination of tenancy based on use of marijuana. And so without getting too much into the weeds, what John said is correct, that in terms of enforcement regarding the use of marijuana, the biggest issue is kind of it being rolled into the smoke-free policy of NYCHA developments. I also just wanted to say that, as most people know, the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act legalized the production, distribution, and use of marijuana in New York State, but it doesn't preempt the federal law, which still classifies marijuana as illegal on a federal level. And so there can be some differences between the rules for admission into NYCHA in terms of applying for NYCHA housing versus how NYCHA is deciding to kind of interpret the law in terms of possible consequences for people who are caught smoking and things like that, which would follow the smoking policy that John outlined. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Ms. Vasquez?
Hi, John. Claudia Perez from the committee has her hand up next, and then after that is Beverly.
Okay, Ms. Perez?
I was just gonna reiterate exactly what Mr. Wu and the previous gentleman said. Being a NYCHA resident and them enforcing it is actually a resident stating that there's somebody smoking in the floor or someone of that nature, but NYCHA actually has to like literally catch you with the smoke in your apartment. But they will call you into the office. So the first process of that, when you get a first complaint about that, they will call you into the office and go back over your lease. The second stage of that, they call you in and they talk to you again, go back over the lease again, and they offer, if you're smoking cessation classes, they resource it out. The enforcement is one of the biggest issues that NYCHA is having right now in the smoke-free policy. And that's where they're at with that. I just wanted to state that. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you, Ms. Perez. Okay, who's next, Marlene?
Beverly.
Oh, Beverly, the floor is yours.
Yes, I have some questions also in regards to some of the NYCHA buildings being transferred into PAC and RED and management companies. Does that policy still hold true to those group of buildings that's turned over to these private or non-private development management companies?
That one I'm not sure of, Beverly, but Marlene, NYCHA is supposed to be coming here in the next couple of months, aren't they?
Yes.
Okay, well, what we can do is that unless I find out before then, the thing is we can ask that question then.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, next.
Roger Flores has his hand up.
Hey Doc, how you doing?
Hey, guys, I just want to make sure that I state for the record, you know, I take out lung cancer every day. I'm on the front lines when it comes to that. And marijuana causes lung cancer. You're going to get the opposite argument. They're going to say there's no data out there on that. And that was the biggest argument with cigarettes for 50 years. Where's the data? Where's the data? So if anyone has any questions with NYCHA, with cannabis use and lung cancer, now's not the time, but I would be happy to give you all the data that really shows that marijuana does cause lung cancer, and we're going to see a spike down the line with the increased use of it. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you, Roger. Is there anyone in the public with their hand raised, Marlene?
Yes, you have two hands raised in the public. Candy should not be in the public, so I will move her.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right.
But the next person, hold on, let's just see if Candy moved over. Just give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, so Candy, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, I'm sorry, everyone. Welcome back, and it's good to see everybody that we're now back in session. I don't know if you received the email regarding the new lottery that's coming out for Mount Sinai. They just opened up their wait list for 8 East 102nd Street. So I don't know if you received that. If you didn't, then I'll try and send you the information for that. It's going to be through Housing Connect again, and you have to, not Housing Connect, the New York State website. So this way, you know, people can have opportunities to apply for the apartments, and those are for the set asides of the low income section, starting at 32,000. So I'll put that up there if anything, or if it's not already on the website of Community Board 11, but it's just to let everyone know that that's what's happening. And you know, there's always a short period of a time, so I would like for everybody to have the opportunity to reapply. Again, you know, that wait list is open, so, and it's for Community Board 11 people, so that's good. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you, Candy. Okay. Next.
You have one hand up in the attendee section, Crystal Glover. If you would like to go ahead and recognize her.
Yes, Ms. Glover, the floor is yours.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, good afternoon. So my name is Crystal Glover, and I'm the financial secretary for Washington Houses Resident Association. We were handed in our lease recently, our lease states that smoking marijuana is not allowed in the buildings. It is now on our lease. It's documented. The same way they put cigarettes, that cigarette smoking is illegal in NYCHA. And I happened to be on that panel. How I got on was I was complaining about the smoke that I was breathing in every day. And they asked me, would you like to be on the panel? And I said, sure, why not? This was back in 2019, I believe. And so they already knew that they were going to stop the smoking in the buildings. I don't know why NYCHA does that. They wait to tell us what they're going to do after they already decided that they're going to do it. So I was on that panel, and it's written in stone that we can't smoke in our apartments. Okay, so now the marijuana piece is also on our leases. And as far as being afraid to report someone, we know that smoke travels. So if I call CCC, that's the Centralized Complaint Center, if I call them and I say, I'm smelling smoke in my apartment, and they say, well, where is it coming from? Well, all of my windows are closed, so it could be coming from downstairs, it could be coming from upstairs, or it could be coming from the hallway. It's up to them to figure it out. If I say that it's in 2D or whatever, you can do that too. You can do it anonymously, but the bottom line is don't be afraid to report, because you have to live too. I realize that smokers, it's a habit, that they are addicted. Nicotine is very addictive. And there should be empathy and sympathy and all this kind of thing here. But you can't just say, well, I'm scared, I ain't gonna report them. NYCHA residents have been living with fear for what, 60-something years? We was afraid to report the drug dealers. We was afraid to report who was selling crack. So we've been scared our whole life living in NYCHA. We've been afraid our whole life. So I know for me, I've complained, and I can guarantee you, I don't smell no smoke now on my floor. And it's not about arrogance or anything like that, but you have to protect yourself. And it's not what you do, it's the way you do it. If you speak to a tenant that you know is smoking on your floor, whatever, and you speak kindly and these types of things, maybe it'll help. But you have to stay on it. I'll say this and shut up. You have to be consistent with it. You can't say, well, ain't nothing gonna happen, ain't nothing gonna change, and this and that and all this kind of thing here. You have to be involved. If your tenants associations are not standing up for you, if they won't take a stand for you, then stand for yourself. And because you have to live there. You have to live there. So that whole fear factor, throw that out the window. And you will see, putting in tickets, if you got to put in a ticket every single day that you're smelling smoke, do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Glover. I see that Diane has her hand up. Diane?
Thank you, John. I just want a point of clarification. My understanding is that NYCHA will be coming to the committee to talk more about this.
Well, they'll be coming to give an update on several matters within the next month or two. As soon as they confirm that they're coming, it'll be placed on the agenda and placed on the community board website.
Right, because I have several questions. Clearly, medical marijuana, is that I'm sure that will be included in this new development that they're doing. And when you say 25 feet from the property, oftentimes that means you're going into another area that may not belong to the not to NYCHA. You're talking private home, private locations, or private businesses. It's a lot. So I wanted to just talk to them when they finally get here. So I just wanted a point of clarification.
They should be here within the next month or two.
Right. It's a big conversation.
Okay. Dawn?
I just wanted to thank Ms. Glover for pointing that out. I I think it's so important for people to hear that they can stand up for themselves and to hear it from residents. So I just want to thank you so much for your comment. And I just want to thank you for stopping by the community board table last month as well. It's great to have you out there and
Oh, I'm in a meeting. Okay, call you when we're done. All right, bye-bye.
All right, Dawn, your statement's done?
yeah, I was just shouting out Miss Glover and because she spent some time at our table this summer at community board, and I'm so glad she filled out the survey,
Okay,
hopefully. And that's all.
okay, thank you. Any other comments, any other information updates from the committee or the public?
You have one hand raised in the public. Keith, if you would like to recognize Keith, John.
Sure. Keith?
Yes, hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I heard that in one of the projects here on the east side, there was a problem with the water. People were giving water to bathe in, to cook in, and that there was some, they couldn't run their water, they couldn't bathe in showers or anything like that. That's a concern for the community.
That's in Reese houses down on the Lower East Side. That's not in our district, but it is a concern. It's a health issue. It is, and the thing is that it's like I've been looking at that on the news myself. But the thing is, hopefully that will not happen anywhere else anywhere else in NYCHA or anywhere else in the city for that matter. That's my hope.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
And Ms. Glover? Ms. Glover, if you're talking, you're muted. Because I see your hand is up.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you for giving me a moment to mention this. So when I heard about the arsenic down at Jacob Reese, I sent an email to the City Council of Presidents. They only acknowledge the presidents of tennis associations. They don't get to the people. So I sent them an email suggesting that they have a major meeting, Zoom or whatever way they want to do it, to notify tenant associations in Manhattan, South, North, Brooklyn, wherever. Because this is major. There have been people here at Washington Houses that I've spoken to that have complained about rashes that they're getting. And then all of a sudden you hear about this arsenic. So the same way that Shayola had to resign when she signed the paper saying that all apartments that were on the list were checked for lead and they weren't. And that was the opportunity for us, for CCOP especially, because the City Council of Presidents are the ones who represent the developments. They're the ones at the top. And so the fact that even though they did fill out some kind of paper, there was some kind of legal thing going on, but that was our opportunity to raise much hell. We could have put in our demands. Well, no, we're not paying rent for 2 years because we don't know if we've been affected by the lead, all these kind of things. That was our opportunity to shine, and we didn't shine. So now this arsenic piece is another opportunity for us to shine, but it's going to take the leadership, CCOP, and all those folks that supposedly representing us to highlight this. Don't sleep on this, because arsenic, this ain't nothing to play with. And you hear about tenants in all developments, right? In my development, people say, oh, my water pressure is so low and the water is so brown, and the folks on the higher floors tend to be affected in a lot of ways. And so this is not just Jacob, it's everywhere. And this is CCOP's opportunity to shine. So either they're gonna sleep on it or they're gonna do something with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Glover. And any other comments from the committee or the public? All right. I thank you all for your comments. It's appreciated. Okay, now on to discussion. Okay, we're having a committee discussions in reference to district needs and budget priorities for fiscal year 2024. Budget liaisons report on findings from needs survey and accompanying recommendations for budget requests. Committee provides feedback. Now, the thing is that this is what we work on actually all year. So the thing is, because actually our requests have to be submitted to the city council by November. So basically the thing is that any requests that we have, they have to be put together within the next few weeks, and so they can be submitted on time. So we'll be discussing this, and because by the way, for those of you new members of the committee, the liaison to the Budget and District Needs Committee for Housing is the Vice Chair, Dawn Sanders. So she'll be reporting back to us for giving us any updates on what's going on in the Budget and District Needs Committee. Okay, I see a hand up. Who is it? Oh, Dawn, yes.
Do you want me to go through some of my notes from we had a meeting in July over the summer. I don't know if there's anything super interesting, but I can look back at my notes if you'd like and just see if there was anything critical.
Well, if it's not available to you right now, it's not necessary. But the thing is that there is a budget meeting coming up. When is it? Next week or the week after?
It says as needed, but I'm going to look for it and if it's happening.
Because I'm pretty sure since we have to have our request in by November, September and October, I think we'll be definitely needed. I'm sure.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure because I'm no longer on the committee. So basically, but I may stop in and check in and see what's going on occasionally. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is our this is the tough part, the first part here, because, and those of you who are new, the thing is, if you have any questions, the thing is that just, like you can reach out to me if you have any questions when we start talking about the budget and district needs. Okay, right. There's another hand up. Oh, Marlene, yes, your hand is up.
Yes, my hand is up. I didn't want to speak over you, John.
Okay, no problem.
Yes, so just for new members to this committee, what's happening right now in this meeting is I'm going to take this screen down and just show you guys what usually happens in the month of September. You all participated, or some of you participated over the summer to collect surveys from residents in CD11, Community District 11, to inform your budget request that will happen in October, and also to inform your statement of district needs that also will be submitted in October on the 31st of October. And that's going to be the preliminary budget for the mayor's budget. After that will be the executive, and then it's the adopted in June. So I'm going to pull all that up. So what's happening now is I will speak to what continues to be the pervasive problem, or concern, rather, is the better word, in this community district. And it mirrors fiscal year 23's public input survey. So the first three from fiscal year 23 was affordable housing, the creation of affordable housing. I just realized I'm speaking to you guys without my thing on, I apologize. The creation of affordable housing preservation, and the conditions of public housing. That's the nicer conversations that you all were having in the beginning of your meeting. And some of the responses were, this is coming directly from the community. And I'll just read off what some of the responses were, and then I'm going to pull it up on the screen. Our community needs to build more housing at all levels, meaning market rate housing, affordable housing, and public housing. Buildings not being found on NYC Housing Connect. So some people are saying, Candy, to what you're saying, that a lottery is going to open up soon. And that's great, but if the public is not aware of how to get to that lottery, or they're having difficulties with Housing Connect, that's up to you all as a board to say that, right, to HPD, or request when the HPD comes in, they're speaking up about more than TIL and ANCP. There are other concerns that community residents have with HPD and the housing. I can attest to that. We do get calls about Housing Connect, that Housing Connect is down. Some people are saying that they can't get, to see the apartments online. So that is a true problem that I can actually attest to as staff. And they're saying that the affordable housing is not actually affordable to the median incomes of Community District 11 residents. It's mirroring fiscal year 23's survey. And then another one is we need more housing opportunities for racially, ethnically, and income diverse population. And then more affordable housing and fixing the existing NYCHA complexities. Let the tenants participate more in managing the complex and assist in cleaning and repairs. Critical need for affordable housing. Again, this is a pervasive issue. Half of the answers were about affordable housing. Landlords are not being held accountable for their properties. New housing being built is unaffordable to East Harlem residents. That was stated in another way. Request for mixed income housing, constant filth around public housing areas, garbage, etc. Like I said, this mirrored fiscal year 23. And John, before you recognize hands, just give me a minute so I could pull up the survey so you guys can actually see it from housing standpoint. In the budget process for the Department of City Planning, Housing, as you all know, for those of you that have done this many times, it shares the scope of with land use. But you all are concerned with preservation and not the land use, but DCP doesn't separate it like that. So just 1 second. So, yes. So this is what I just read off. So there's a pie chart to show you exactly what was the most pressing need, most important issue. Excuse the noise in my background. So it's affordable housing creation. That has not changed. It's been this way for a few years, even before I started working for this board. That's still pervasive, unfortunately. And then the next one that I read off was affordable housing preservation and the condition of public housing. So I'm going to take this one down and show you how it just mirrored fiscal year 2023. So just give me a second. So it'll be much easier because I wasn't using one screen, but 1 second. I'm just gonna scroll over to housing. Okay, so it's what I just said. This was number one last year as well. And if we keep going back, you'll see that it's never changing, right? So that is the community's ask every single year. And it exists on your budget request. And maybe what you all can brainstorm, it doesn't have to be finalized tonight, because the requests are going to be made in October, and your next meeting is when you actually plug in the request, is seeing how you can brainstorm within the 30-day span, right, from now to your next meeting, of how you can reword that or create another request. You could just leave the request that's there already, but try to create another request in terms of this affordable housing thing, even though I do think that, there has been developments created so far, as Candy mentioned, that has set asides for East Harlem, but the community preference. But what the residents are saying, even the set asides, they cannot afford. And that's just what's been persistent across the board. So now I'm going to, just for new members, I'm going to pull up the tracker. And what the tracker does is the committee members create what are called budget requests, and that gets submitted to the Office of Management and Budget and the Department of City Planning. And that gets sent over to them in October for the preliminary budget, as I said earlier. But that work is done, each committee submits requests to the respective agencies that is under the committee's purview. So for example, the Department of Housing Preservation and Development falls under the purview of housing for the preservation of housing, and the development piece falls under land use. So for this committee, HPD would be a committee that they submit, an agency that they submit or request to, if that makes sense. So I'm going to take this down. And I'm going to pull up your tracker so it makes sense. This tracker has the adopted budget. This was shared with you all in June of 2022 when the budget got adopted. So you all have this already, and it is in the board member drive, just so you can have like access to it. Okay. So this document, this is where all the requests go. So the requests are done on committee level. Like I said, each committee submits requests to the respective agency that, their committee is like relevant to that agency. So this is the main capital and expense request tracker. And then so housing deals with HPD and the committees that you see within the agency column. So we can go over these tonight. We don't have to go over each budget item tonight, but you all should be brainstorming as a committee, go over this. So when you come in October, I'm also going to be sending, when DCB sends it to us in the board office, the reference guide that you always get. So it's an appropriate request with OMB and DCP language. So they do not send it back and say this is not a request, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with seeing that a few times because it's just not worded as a budget request. So I will be sending that over, after this meeting when we get it. So to assist you all in creating that budget request, if you choose to create any new ones. And in office, as has been done in the past, we'll create a tab that says keep or remove and just suggest some requests to keep or remove to you all. I've said a lot. And I'm speaking this much because of the new members on the committee. I know the budget process could be a little cumbersome. If you've worked with the city's budget before, then amazing. When I first started working for CB11, I hadn't worked with the city's budget. So I'm speaking this much on purpose. And for any new members, if you have questions, definitely you could raise your hand here, or you can email myself. And then I could speak to you offline if you just need a little bit more further clarity. John, you have 2 hands raised. It's my hand. You have 1 hand raised from Candy.
Candy,
Yes. Candy may have stepped away. Okay, John Beverly has her hand raised. And when Candy comes back on, she'll. Would you like to recognize Beverly, John?
sorry, I muted myself. Yes, Beverly.
Yes, for clarification, can you tell me if the meetings with what I guess with HPD regarding us being the housing committee has been done already, or that's something that's going to be done in the future?
Right, okay, I'm sorry. Thank you for mentioning that, Beverly. So during the summer for new board members, the board office, along with the chairs of each committee, and also the chair of our board, Xavier Santiago, we have what is called a district budget consultation. And that is when we, the board office and the respective chairs speaks to each respective agency for each committee and creates a list of questions to ask the agencies as a follow-up to what was, funded in the adopted budget for the fiscal year, right? So for example, fiscal year 23, the adopted budget went out in June. And so during the summer, a list of questions would have been sent to HPD, which they were sent to HPD. And Beverly, to answer your question, the meeting did happen. And whatever was not funded, the requests that were not funded by HPD, you have them at the table at that time to ask them, for clarity and for further, clarification, why weren't these requests funded, so they could provide answers. Those answers, Beverly, will be forthcoming in writing, because right now what we're rolling into are the borough budget consultations, and that's happening, I believe, tomorrow. So once we have those in writing, we could share that with you all.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Candy?
Yeah, hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Sorry about that. All right, so just for a point of clarification on the information that I gave you regarding the affordable housing, because I have to go back and look at my email. And I actually received it from Related, who are the ones that are managing that particular building. And it's only for studios. And I'm gonna try and see how I can put it in the chat panel where they can request it by email or from Related. If not, I'll just forward it over to Community Board 11 and see how we can get that. But there is also a telephone number where people can call in and they can either send them the, at the request of how they would like to have their application, rather paper or by email. Okay, but and I'm also going to put in the New York State's housingsearch.gov. That is also an alternative besides Housing Connect, because Housing Connect is not the only search engine that you can go into to look for apartments. All right, there are various ways of applying for different type of housing projects. So this one will also be from the state as well. And I'll put that up, okay?
Okay.
I just wanted to put a point of clarification that it's not just through Housing Connect. And also to Marlene's comment about the Housing Connect, I also had was able to have the opportunity to speak with the new commissioner. And I spoke about the Housing Connect and people having problems with the technical difficulties, and they were having some problems. I just wish that they would have put something up on the website, letting us know that they were having some technical difficulties besides doing an upgrade. It was very frustrating because we wanted to make sure that other individuals didn't lose the opportunities to apply to some of the other housing developments that were due by August, So they were having a lot of difficulties, and that I did bring that up to them because as you know, being part of as a housing ambassador, it was very challenging. But I just wanted to bring that up to you, and I'll try and put this information up. If I can't do it this way through the chat, then I will send it over and forward it over to the community board office and see how you can disseminate it. And I hope that everybody that is on this panel right now will share the same information to everybody. This way, other people can have opportunities to apply for different housing developments. That's all.
Thank you, Candy. So, are there any other questions? So, Beverly, yes.
Yes, in regards to the Housing Connect, something came up this couple of weeks ago regarding one East Harlem building. Beautiful building, a lot of amenities that's there. And I know they had a deadline of August 1st for people to apply on Housing Connect for these apartments. I also found out that when I found out about the application, I was telling people and they had to scramble as to, try to fill out the application. And yes, there's a lot of problems with Housing Connect. But what happened was one of the people I told about the program, about the apartments, called Richmond, the organization or the management company that's doing the housing, something Richmond, I believe it is. And what happened was that he filled out the application online with them because they had apartments that was available, like move-in, like within 30 days or whatever. But when he went through all the things, he put in all his paperwork in there with them. And when they asked him to call for the quote of the apartment price, and he was under the impression that it was going by the numbers that we had on Housing Connect. But when he found out, when they called him, then right away after he filled out his application, that the apartments that they were offering were anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000 a month. So my concern is that when we have using Housing Connect and we have these deadlines for people to apply, I think that needs to be maybe taken away, because the agencies or that's monitoring or is able to rent out these apartments don't have a deadline for any apartments that come up. So I think that's something that needs to be worked out in the next group of housing that's coming in our community, because it's two applications, one with Housing Connect and then one with the sponsors, and they can do their own pricing for these apartments. And I think that's something that needs to be addressed, and I wanted to tell you guys about it.
Thank you.
John,
Okay.
can I say something?
Candy, sure.
Okay, okay, when there's a mixed use, mixed income developments, the ones that are set aside that you see on Housing Connect is supposed to be the affordable, but let's just remember that affordable is who could afford to pay certain amount of rents, right? That are set aside or not. But the thing is that if the private developer also has market rate apartments, you're not going to see, you won't be able to, you won't see that unless you go directly through the managing agent that is taking care of that. You know, there could be two different kind of managing agents that they have. And one of them, it could be for the affordable one, right? That you will see on Housing Connect, and they will be strictly dealing with just those apartments that are set aside on the affordable side on the marketing of Housing Connect. And then you have the ones that they say, okay, we do have, like Related does with this particular apartment. I'm trying to put in that information for you about 102nd Street. They do have some apartments that are available, but that they are not part of the Housing Connect housing development financing structure. Okay, because it all depends on how it's being financed. So you won't see that unless, you know, you're gonna pay the market rate. And I just wanted to put that for clarity. I mean, most part, you know, what will be the best thing, and as a suggestion, you may want to have HPD marketing group to come in and give a brief presentation, and I'm sure that they would love to do that. They're a great department. And this way there's more clarity and understanding how the marketing process works out when it comes to Housing Connect and the whole marketing process, period, in getting apartments. And I think that that would be much better for everybody to have clarity on, you know.
Thank you, Candy. We'll take that under advisement. Thank you so much. That is the only presentation we have, right, Marlene?
Yes, John.
Okay, so now we go on to is there any old business? I hear crickets. No, old business. Do I hear any new business? Dawn?
Yes, so I mentioned this earlier, but I am curious to know at some point for the elected officials that represent our catchment, their take on the conversion of NYCHA from Section 9 to Section 8. Sorry.
Well, I don't know about that, but the thing is that there are, I think, Community Board 11 consists of 4 separate city council districts, and but I think public house is only in 2 of them. But the thing is that we can't ask.
It's just because some of the groups, like there is a NYCHA group to resist this transition that meets most Sundays from 3 to 5. And I don't know if they broke for the summer, but that group does kind of call out different elected officials and say, well, this elected is not with us, or this elected has not made clear what their stand is on public housing. And since our board has more public housing than many other boards, I just feel like at some point we should be clear where our electeds stand on this issue of Section 9 versus Section 8, because I don't think it's resolved. And I'm going to read what you sent around, what Marlene sent around. I don't know if it's resolved in there, but it's, I think it's a pivotal issue that we need to know where we stand. Even the community board, I don't think has taken a stand the same way, like we haven't taken a stand on 421, but we kind of know generally what we're thinking. But I'm curious to find out from our electeds and from others who supports or does not support the transition of NYCHA from Section 9 to Section 8. So I'm just putting it out there as new business, and I will be glad to put together a letter or invite electeds to comment on where they stand. but I think it's something that the housing committee should address at some point.
I'll agree with that. Like I said, the two city council members that have that have public housing in their district within CB11 are Men and Ayala. So those are the two main city council members that we would probably have to ask what is their stance on this. And that's a feasible statement that you made, Dawn. Thank you.
And I'd be happy to like start an email trail to Marlene or whoever wants to look further into this, because we have assembly members who may or may not be co-sponsoring bills that directly affect the future of NYCHA. And I just want to be clear on that. And thank you, Jason Wu. I just want to be clear because as I said, I sit on this Sunday meeting, and the Sunday meeting advocates list elected officials who sign on or support the transition of public housing. And I just feel like we should understand why they support it, or how they think it will help, because having studied public housing all over this country and even in China to some extent, NYCHA is the last of the true public housing in the entire country that is not based on a percentage of your income directly, but it's the ultimate safety net, which a lot of other states lost this kind of public housing, and they don't have this kind of safety net. And so, and with homelessness on the rise and sort of the vulnerability of being a Section 8 tenant versus a Section 9 tenant, I just don't want us to not watch what's going on and fall victim to what Chicago, Indiana, Milwaukee, like all these different states have experienced as their public housing has been transferred and changed, pretty much erased.
Needs to be torn down in some places.
Yeah.
Well said, Dawn. Thank you so much. But we can work on that, because the thing is we should have a position, and we should know what the electeds think, because the thing is that since they represent us, the thing is we should know what their view is. Beverly?
Yes, Dawn, I agree 100% on what you're speaking of. And if it's anything I can help you with, please give me a call, because I know several months back, we had a gentleman do a presentation regarding NYCHA, and he was against losing Section 9 for Section 8, and he had a lot of documentation and information regarding what they will be losing. And my thing with the Section 8 and them changing everything from Section 9 to Section 8, I know the city seems to keep thinking that private and even nonprofit organizations sometimes is going to help the situation for housing. And we seem to be just about worse off, and giving them more reign over housing, especially with the private real estate industry. The city has to take back some responsibility in providing housing, instead of giving it to people that they're going to get a profit, even with the money that the city just allocated. Sorry, guys, allocated to NYCHA like $1.4 million or $1 billion, but 1.2 of that is going to be given to subsidize the PAC program. So out of that money, they have staff, a lot of that. How much? I don't know, and I would love to know how much money of that is going actually into the repairs of the apartments. How much do the sponsors or the new management company gets as their fee? All this information we need to know to see if it's benefiting these developments and the people that's in them. So Dawn, if there's anything I can help you with and pushing this information about section 9 versus section 8, switch over. Yeah, I think it needs to be spoke about, and all the officials, we need to know where they stand in regards to these issues. Very much so. Thank you.
Thank you, Beverly. Xavier? Xavier, if you're speaking,
Yeah.
There you go.
Sorry about that. I'm helping my little one with bath time. So been listening in on the meeting. Sorry I was a bit late, had a work meeting run over. Welcome back, everyone. I know it's we're kind of hitting the ground running, and I want to say thank you to everyone on this committee for the work you're endeavoring, and all the members of the public. We need you present and at the table. Your input helps guide us. Thank you for all those who participated in the survey, especially as we still struggle with COVID, and but are slowly and surely making our way through. Couple quick points, and at the risk of sounding a bit pedantic, but most everyone, John, Don, Candy, everyone knows, Jason, again, it's knowing where to direct our focus. Obviously, NYCHA, as many people know, is funded through HUD, and how that trickles down through state into the city and how it's managed. Many of the agencies' issues that we face now were put in place by Robert Moses. It's worth having a read, The Power Broker, by Robert Caro, The Rise and Fall in New York, and understanding how our city charter works. That being said, when it comes to our funding requests and how that intersects with other agencies, it's important for us to really say when we're addressing issues with NYCHA that we're making sure we're focusing both with our city, our state, and our federal electeds. And it's important, especially when it comes to the funding of HUD, that beyond just the normal budgetary process that our community associate Marlene was so kind to kind of draw out and more simplified terms, is that we are constantly focusing on our electeds at the federal level for funding requests, and not just the ones that represent us here, but across the nation. It's highly important because they're not tuned in, as Dawn mentioned, with the raising of public housing throughout the nation. We're one of this still, and although it is not anywhere the bastion of where my father grew up in Millbrook, it is one of the last existing housing authorities that can actually help people springboard up and out and really make a difference for our society. So again, as you go through and participate in our budgeting process, I implore you, once we get to the next stage, we don't take our eyes off the ball, and we really focus on not just advocating with our local electeds, but also those across the nation who can play an influential part with funding. So those are my comments, although not as brief as possible. Thank you, John. Welcome back, everyone. Look forward to seeing you out there in the neighborhood.
Thank you, Xavier. Ms. Perez, the floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. I'm gonna speak from a resident's perspective, right? Everything that everybody has been saying about public housing is totally correct and on point. One of our biggest issues that we are facing, is the Section 3 violations. Now, when you concentrate on the Section 3 violations, which is the job component, that is the self-sufficiency of the entire community. It just does not concentrate on the the NYCHA residents, it includes the community in its entirety. And one of the things that we're missing, right? Section 3 does not just pertain to NYCHA. It pertains to all the construction that is going on to date in this community, that they have been robbing us of our community, 30% of our community being on the workforce. And if they're not qualified to do the jobs in which they're asking you to do, they're supposed to be training programs. That way, the self-sufficiency part, because yes, we can ask the federal government, the state and the city and the state, all three parts of the government have been delinquent within NYCHA for decades. So this is not something that has happened overnight. So I don't want to beat a dead horse. Basically, when you're turning over Section 9, because Dawn, I do attend those meetings. I know exactly the organization that you're talking about. The meetings have convened. It started last week for the first time, and it still proceeds every Sunday at 4 p.m. So one of the major things that people are missing out, because what they're selling us, right, is that if you go over to the Section 8 component of public housing, because let's understand that Section 8 is public housing, but it's a different type of public housing. First and foremost, that does not include your light and your gas included with your rent. So that 30% is more than 30%. And we all know that under Section 8, the more that income you create within the household, the less the threshold is that the government subsidy that they receive for the apartment. So it's very easily converted into a market rate apartment where you're having seniors, and I'm just going to point it out really quickly because I don't want to be long-winded, but this is something that, I think we can do like a whole just presentation on. So one of the things, you have two seniors who are, one is in their late 70s, 80 years old. They have a pension, 401k, they have Social Security, plus what other expenses they have. Right now for their 2-bedroom apartment, they are paying close to $2,200 in rent. If they do not fit within the Section 8 threshold. And these are our seniors that we're talking about in an aging community, because of the violation of our Section 3 rights, there have been no move outs. So that's the issue that's now plaguing us. There have been no move outs because that opportunity has been taken away from us. And now you have seniors in these developments who now are facing displacement because a lot of them don't fit within that Section 8 threshold. So then you might want to move them to another place. Now what happens to them? You have to start thinking about, okay, you're moving an 80-year-old person who's been in a community for decades. They now are in a strange place. It leads to dementia. They are now homebound, and it plagues us in so many other ways. But one of the things I want to get back to is the self-sufficiency and adding the Section 3 component to what's going on here. It's a basic violation, and there's nobody stating, like, once you state the violation, there's nobody to enforce, like, hey, this shouldn't be happening. This needs to happen. Where the hiring, the training programs, and that's how you're going to pull all these kids from off of the street and replace the money that they're receiving in the streets, because we all know that construction, most of the construction that goes on here, they are unionized, but a lot of these jobs don't lead to union jobs because they keep the same workers there. And they pay them that $15 an hour when they're receiving close to $120 an hour for these workers to be on there. So we are being cheated out of a lot of funding. So that's what we need to definitely look into. And I yield the floor. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Perez. There is another hand up. Ms. Glover?
Yes, hi. I just wanted to mention that Diana Ayala, Councilwoman Diana Ayala, donated, I don't know the total amount because I wasn't in the office, but she donated some really nice bags, some back to school bags to Washington houses. She also donated refreshments. This took place last Wednesday. It was really nice. Diana Ayala, thank you. The bags were not just flimsy Dollar Tree bags. They were really nice bags. And so I want to say thank you, Diana. I actually sent her an email thanking her. And even though the flyer went up in all the buildings, it didn't make the highlights like maybe Gibbs and some other people's flyers. But we did have a back to school bag giveaway here last Wednesday. The other thing I wanted to say is that the thing about NYCHA, all the public information is all public information. NYCHA doesn't hide anything from us. Everything is on their bill, you know, their information site. The problem is we're not reading. And the problem is our leadership, we're getting ready to go into, we're in September now. And so meetings are starting back. And I suggest that the meetings be open to what the residents want to talk about. A woman took me into McDonald's yesterday and she sat me down and brought me some coffee and she gave me a list of what she wants this TA meeting for this month to be about. She said it's starting with sensitivity. The fact that some people have hardships with their rent. She shared with me that she was like, her rent was like $4,000 in debt. The mental health piece, she liked that to be discussed. She gave me some really, 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 really good stuff that I tried to take back to my office yesterday, and well, not yesterday, but Friday, I believe it was, and it didn't work out. I wanted to share it with the president. Really good information. So I'm only bringing that up to say that NYCHA waived the bylaws for these tenants associations. So the elections that took place in November 29th, because of COVID, everything was backed up. So they had this hurry up, rush election that took place in November 29th. Most people got in unopposed. Other developments, people came out and voted. What's my point? Is NYCHA going to go back to using the bylaws? That's the question I would like. If it was waived for the election, does this mean it went back to being in use? And the only reason why I'm bringing it up for any residents that's listening, because I'm not on any fancy boards. I need to get on one. I'm basically just on this one TA board. But I was a TA president at one time. And I tell you, we are in a lot of the shape that we're in due to management. You know, 99% of it is management's fault. But as tenants, it's as though we're waiting for somebody to do something for us. That's where the leadership comes in, because there's so much power in the leadership. And there's TPA dollars, millions of dollars that we've used for conferences and all this kind of stuff. And so for any tenant that's listening, find out what type of TPA funds are left in your tenants association. When I was president, it was $290,000. And when we want to complain that we don't have money to do anything, every tenant association board has, depending on how many, we have 14 buildings. We have 1,500 families. And back in 2011, the tenant participation activity funds were $290,000. So when we talk about we don't have no money, find out where the money's at, because we ask for money, but then it's not used appropriately. I'm not throwing stones at nobody. I'm not trying to blame nobody for nothing, because I ain't got to do that. The IRS will take care of you. I don't have to deal with you. But I know one thing, we're on the losing end because we're not utilizing what we have. And I'm talking about tenants. I'm talking about the tenants. Okay? So we could talk about what NYCHA ain't doing and this one doing this and this and doing that. NYCHA keeps all of their information public. They don't hide nothing. It's all right there for you to read. I'll stop there, but thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Glover. Okay. If there's nothing else, we can go on to the roll call and to take us out. Marlene?
Sure. Juhaid Chowdhury, sorry. Okay. Diane Collier,
Present.
Brianna DaCosta, Raja Flores, Brandon Gillespie.
Here.
Thanks. John Green,
Here,
Alonzo Johnson,
Here.
Beverly Pabon,
Present.
Claudia Perez, Dawn Sanders.
Present. Sorry.
Also present.
Thank you. Anne Marie Vasquez. Candy Vivas Vasquez.
Here.
Thanks. And Jason Wu.
Here.
I'm here, Marlene, Raja Flores, sorry.
It's fine, thank you.
okay.
Okay, thanks.
I want to thank everyone for attending tonight, and I want to thank the committee for giving their time and attention to this. And by the power vested in me by Community Board 11, I now proclaim this meeting adjourned at 8:11 p.m. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night and welcome to all the
Good
new
night.
members.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good
Have
night.
a blessed day.
Good
Have a good night.
Get
Good
home
night.
safely, or be safe at home.